Hey guys, and welcome back to week 11 of the Pokeball Draft League. We're going up against King Hup this week. We faced him earlier in the year and beat him, although it was a little tough. We won that mainly because of Torkoal, so I wanted to try a Torkoal-less team this week with a little bit of fun thrown in. Start off with Hydreigon. Been liking Hydreigon more and more. The coverage moves are nice, and we can do things like Heat Wave for spread, Dark Pulse for stab, and Earth Power to try to pick up some of our coverage. So just Life Orb, Levitate, Protect, and Timid. Same thing we usually bring. Fire, Terra for Heat Wave stab. Next up, we have Earthworm. I'm hoping Earthworm can help us set up a couple things. Same reason we usually bring it, but I definitely wanted the Body Press for the Weavile in particular. I need some other fighting weaknesses on the team. So just Shed Tail to get things set up. Rock Slide for a chance at spread flinch. Body Press for the fighting weaknesses my opponent has. Plus, we have pretty good defense. And then Iron Head as well, just for a stab move. We went with Rocky Helmet. I did not know Weavile had Pickpocket, which may or may not play into everything later on. Then we have Hatterene, standard set we usually bring if we're not bringing like Mystical Fire or Terra or anything. We went with Terra Steel just to try and resist some of the poison moves my opponent has that I was expecting. So Trick Room, Dazzling Gleam, Psychic, Protect. I probably wouldn't have gone with the Sassy Nature. I kind of autopiloted on these builds this week. I probably would have gone with something, maybe like a Modest Nature or something more specially attack focused. But this is what we brought. It's a pretty decent set. Gives us stab, gives us spread, whole 9 yards, and lets us set up Trick Room. Coming up next, we have Rabsca. I love Rabsca. This was such a steal for us at the C tier in the draft. Revival Blessing, Dazzling Gleam this week for my opponent also has a Fairy type weakness, Trick Room, and Protect. Sassy, Telepathy to stop any earthquakes that might be coming out. Just lets us get around that. Type Fairy, which is a little opposite of what we said for Hatterene, but I don't think my opponent would really expect it. And if we have a Dark type move firing into the Rabsca, Fairy will help us with that, and it gives us Stab, Dazzling Gleam pretty much. So again, Rabsca isn't, we don't use Rabsca for offense, but with its pretty high special attack, it's going to be pretty helpful. Kingambit is one of our physical attackers for the week. It's strong, has Supreme Overlord, and can really put in a lot of damage if it's not checked by my opponent. I went Terra Ghost in case my opponent fired in a fighting type move that does quadruple damage due to Kingambit's Dark Steel typing. And then we just went Kowtow Cleave, Sucker Punch, Low Kick, and Iron Head. Again, I was noticing my opponent's fighting weakness. Sucker Punch is good priority. Kowtow Cleave is a nice stab that can't miss. And Iron Head is also stab that has a chance to flinch. All this just creates a pretty solid offensive physical sweeper if it's not checked. And to wrap everything up, we have Brute Bonnet. Brute Bonnet gives a Spore for a little bit of status conditions. Sucker Punch, same reason we bring on Kingambit. Seed Bomb for big AoE chance. For big grass stab, combined with the boost energy photosynthesis, and Pollen Puff. I wanted to try to keep my Earthworm alive a little bit longer, and just the healing I thought could be fun to try out, and it gives us a Bug move, which sounds not great, but Bug has surprisingly decent amount of coverage on some teams, so I thought it would be a fun little thing to bring this week. So, coming up is the battle, and you guys can see how it all works out. Alrighty, so his team doesn't bring a whole lot of surprises. I was expecting the Glimmera. The Scizors is a little bit interesting, and I was expecting to see the Jumpluff, so not seeing that is a little bit surprising, but that was about it. None of these other ones really surprised me. He didn't have Medicham last time I faced him, so that'll be a new experience. I decided to go with Hydreigon Earthworm to start out. It's my, I feel like it's my most solid opener because it doesn't rely on Trick Room at all. I could start with like a Brute Bonnet or something like that, or even Hatterene, but Earthworm in Hydreigon lets me put on both some pressure immediately as well as utility options such as Shed Tail. So we decided to go for that. I don't really have an expectation of what he's going to lead. I thought maybe he might bring Medicham, but again, I don't really know what it's going to be doing. So he ends up leading the Glimmera and the Weavile. The Glimmera doesn't surprise me all that much because of the Toxic Debris passive. I just have to be careful about that. I'm actually okay seeing the Weavile. I have Body Press on the Earthworm that I think I can do alright with. And I want to scout out to see what this Glimmera has and also see what the Weavile wants to lead off with. So I'm just going to go for a Protect on turn 1. If he has an Ice-type move and tries to go into the Hydreigon, I could just Terra Fire and then Heat Wave the turn after, which I might end up doing. So he actually makes the switch into Belly Bolt, which surprises me a little bit. So I do Protect, expecting him to try to get down the Hydreigon right away. And there is the Ice Spinner, which is worrisome. I'm pretty happy at this point. I Body Press going in, which is 4 times effectiveness to the Weavile and shoot Oko. I was not expecting... The crit, I don't think mattered. I was not expecting the Focus Sash. That was relatively annoying. And then I also, a new thing I learned for the season, Pickpocket then works after the Focus Sash is used up. So he takes the Rocky Helmet from me, which is pretty aggravating. So now I have to make a choice. Do I just try to go into something else with Earthworm, or do I try to KO his things? And so I know an Ice-type move's probably coming in, and I don't want to risk being one-shot by it, especially as Dragon-type. And luckily I brought Terra Fire, so I should be able to resist it pretty well. And then put some pressure off. What I did not consider is that Heat Wave, Terra Fire, Heat Wave is one of my only answers to Scizor. So I probably could have played this a little bit better. Earth Power does about half, which I'm pretty happy with. Rock Slide's a nice hit, although he did get off an Ice Spinner. Critical hit doesn't make a huge deal. And he messaged me after this. He's like, yeah, I forgot about Earth Eater. So, all in all, pretty much a free turn for us. We got our Terra. Like, he forced our Terra out, but we took down one of his and took about 20% quarter on Hydreigon, including self-damage from Life Orb. This has me a little bit worried. Whenever opponents seem to take a little while in their decisions, I think they have something up their sleeve. Dragapult is something I didn't really have to worry about last time we faced. Hatterene and I want to say Brute Bonnet. One of our dark types took care of it pretty easily last time. So it didn't really do a whole ton to me. I was not expecting Flamethrower. I didn't really have a lot that wanted to eat that. Hatterene probably would have been the most effective thing to eat that. We would have done all right. Luckily, we get another critical hit. Like, half of the hits so far have been crits in this game. It's been insane. But luckily, we one-shot the Dragapult. So, trading 1-for-1 did suck. That, I was not expecting. I think this is the first time I'd seen Parabolic Charge. I was not expecting it to one-shot. So that Belly Bolt was way more of a menace than I expected. So if I face it in playoffs, I will have to remember to get rid of it faster. Because I had a lot of things that could deal with Dragapult. I don't have a whole lot that can deal with that Belly Bolt. So now I need to try to get the Brute Bonnet, or sorry, I need to try to get Trick Room up. There's the Glimmera again, which is aggravating. Now the issue with this is both of my Pokemon are weak to poison. Which is not great. Dazzling Gleam's not going to do a ton, so I want to try to get rid of that Glimmera with just a Psychic, even though we move second. And now I'm trying, do I Spore, or do I try to KO it? And I figure Spore is probably a safer place. Sludge Bomb one-shots. With a crit, and I think the crit mattered. So again, yet another crit that battle. Yeah, I think the crit did make a difference. I can run calcs. So, note while editing, I did check, and even if he was full offensive EVs against my set, Sludge Bomb should have done a max of about 73-75%. So the crit most definitely made a difference, which is unfortunate. And then we knew he didn't have Focus Sash because we were on Weavile, and Psychic probably would have KO'd him. King Gambit, hopefully going to take care of the Glimmera. And now we're just trying to get rid of the Belly Bolt. Here's the Terra. I'm not sure he had to show the Terra this game. Once Hatterene went down, he had this pretty well in hand. Terra Ground, pretty interesting. I was expecting Ghost or something. Maybe even Ghost. Earth Power does not one-shot, which is nice. Assault Vest, King Gambit, helpful. Seed Bomb, not critting. That's when we need it to crit. That would have been nice. And then there's this. So again, I should have doubled up into something, and we didn't. I still don't have Trick Room up. And at this point, I know the game's probably lost, so I want to see if Sucker Punch can hit it. I was going to check, see if Sucker Punch will hit a sleeping Pokemon if it hits a move. He scouts out the Sucker Punch, and we get to use Pollen Puff. I know Belly Bolt has to attack to do something. We got lucky it didn't wake up. So we can kind of Sucker Punch trap it now. Which he's probably expecting. I'm guessing he wants to sack the Belly Bolt to get something new in. So he played around Sucker Punch really well with Glimmera. Here's the Scizor. I don't really know what to expect, but I also, at this moment, I realize, oh crap. Scizor hits Brute Bonnet 4 times effectively. King Gambit at least neutrally effectively. This could be bad. Because again, I don't have a way to deal with it. I don't have any rock moves. I don't have any fire moves. Yeah, it's not great. And he didn't have Medicham last time I faced him, so I don't know what to expect from this. I think he probably has Detect on it. And maybe Trick Room, but I don't know what else beyond that. So I kind of don't want to deal with the Scizor. I was not expecting close combat, so he has two 4-time effective moves against our team so far. He has close combat for King Gambit, and I'm guessing he has Scizor for the Brute Bonnet. But now we got Rabsca, who unfortunately is going to get poisoned when it goes in. So that's going to break our Sash, or at least make it not a big deal. Scizor is also effective against Rabsca because of its psychic typing. So we got fake outed last turn. And there it goes. He just doubles up into the Rabsca, knowing I probably brought Focus Sash. It's Life Orb Scizor as well, which I was not expecting. But we get Spore off, which hopefully lets me take care of the other things. Brute Bonnet's the last one out. This one's lost. So at this point, I just want to see how many KOs Brute Bonnet can pick up. So Fire Punch is to be expected. Yet another crit, which is unfortunate. I don't think it made a difference because he has Scizor. So if we had more health, it'd just chop through us. But everything's asleep. Now, how long will the Scizor stay asleep? I was checking to see if I could pollen puff myself. Seed Bomb, just in case he was trying to play around the Sucker Punch. Now I will go for it. It's low enough. And I learned that, yes, if it's asleep and trying to attack, we can still Sucker Punch it, which is amusing to me. Scizor stays asleep! Brute Bonnet picks up more KOs. Fear he's probably just attacking with both things. And I'm hoping with photosynthesis boosted stuff, I'm hoping Sucker Punch can KO at 30% health. And yes, it can. We're not putting anything else out. So Brute Bonnet does some work. Makes this game a lot closer than it actually was. And now Scizor wakes up and just X's her. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't play well around the Scizor this game. And he kind of had a nice moveset to just carve me up. So yeah, there was game one. Alright, so going into game two, I'm going to change things up a little bit. We're going to start with Hatterene and Hydreigon. Both of these can put on offensive pressures. He has to respect the Hatterene because of potentially putting up Trick Room. And then he already knows that Hydreigon can still put out quite a bit of damage. It can two-shot his Belly Bolt. There it is. I could picture the face. I just couldn't think of the name. So yeah, I can two-shot his Belly Bolt. I got to be careful of that Weavile, though. Just because I don't know how much Ice Spinner will do if I don't Terra Fire. So he leads Glimmera Weavile. I am fully expecting a Poison move into, like a Sludge Bomb into Hatterene. So I want to swap it out for a Steel type. A big thing I screwed up here. I completely forgot we had Terra Steel Hatterene this week. Completely forgot about it. That would have been huge. Like, that would have been absolutely massive. We could have Terra Steeled, either put up Trick Room, or Dazzling Gleam, or Psychic to Glimmera, and just swapped out, Hydreigon. Say we swap out Hydreigon for King Gambit. We then have Trick Room up, 2 Steel types against a Glimmera, and we can just Dazzling Gleam low kick the Weavile. And I don't think there's a whole lot he can do. It would have been... That would have been the play, and looking back, like, it took me like a day and a half. I'm recording this way late. But it took me like a day and a half to remember that, oh, crap, I had Terra Steel Hatterene. So he Terras 2. And we already know what it is. We're beefy. And he can't steal it yet because Focus Sash isn't up. We get Hydreigon Earth Power, which doesn't do as much as we would like. Power Gem I was not expecting, so that's pretty aggravating. Especially because we tear it into fire. Normally we'd be alright, but... If we had Trick Room up, he'd be dead. This play, I go a little too fast. I went Rabsca up behind the substitute because then he can't do anything about it. There is no way for him to kill Rabsca in a single turn behind a substitute with Focus Sash. and I just didn't think it through. And as soon as I put out the Hatterene, I messaged him and like, nope, I screwed up. I also completely forgot about Scizor in the back. Another reason we should have switched out Hydreigon. So this game already, I'm just making mistakes left and right. Very winnable game. But... So I'd go for the Protect. Which he either reads or values the Brute Bonnet more. But after he doubles up into it, he's read it. Doesn't do a lot, which is fine. So, combination of me misplaying and him outplaying this game. Brute Bonnet already this low, not having Trick Room up, I know it's pretty much over. It's still early, but I've lost my answer to Scizor. I'm about to lose my answer to Dragapult. And I don't have anything to deal with the Belly Bolt. So my only chance is I get a Trick Room up and can really put in a lot of damage with it. Luckily we get off Sucker Punch, but he does get Toxic Debris out, which is what it is. I didn't play around that either, which getting Rabscout earlier would have done. There's the Ice Spinner. We do get Trick Room up, so Weavile's biggest strength, which is its speed, gets shut down now. It could still have something like an Ice Shard. Ice Shard can be fairly scary on Weavile. But I decided to go with King Gambit here. We already have a few things KO'd for Supreme Overlord. The Steel type ignores the Toxic Spikes on the field. I actually thought Steel types cleared the Toxic Spikes, but no, they don't. I don't know why that was in my head. So I just realized, I guess Magic Bounce doesn't bounce back Toxic Debris. We almost get a double KO with Dazzling Gleam alone. Medicham had Red Card, which I didn't know what it did until my Hatterene got yeeted. Luckily, it puts our other Steel type out, but that means Hatterene has to come back in and eat Toxic Spikes later, which sucks. Here he is. I don't know why I thought... King Gambit was going to live long enough to do anything. I guess we did have Trick Room up, but... That's why I thought it. Kowtow Cleave. Does about half, which is nice. And here's when I learned his Scizor is slower than my Earthworm. I was hoping for the chance for a Rock-Slide flinch. That's where I learned his Scizor. They have the same base stat. As I mentioned in my team building video, I autopiloted the EVs and moves a little bit, so the Earthworm actually has 31 speed IVs. And it doesn't KO the Scizor. Go Dazzling Gleam, feeling fairly safe in that. Just double spread move. I wasn't expecting Bullet Punch. Life Orb, Bullet Punch, KOs apparently. I mean, we technically got rid of it, but that Scizor set was exactly what he needed this week. That doesn't KO, unfortunately. And he just undoes the Trick Room. First time somebody's done that to me this year. Or this season. I had somebody... One of the guys I played before had an Ornn Guru who used Trick Room to, I think, counteract a Trick Room I was doing, but it was like the second last round of the match. And all I had to do was keep hitting the Oranguru. It's the only thing he had left. I mean, I'm going to try, but... Dragapult's fast. Has Flamethrower. We live it. Like, Rabska's decently bulky. We're not living that, though. And I probably should have Rock Slided. Iron Head doesn't do enough. I know he has Flamethrower. He has Fire Punch. Yeah. I at least could have picked up one more KO probably on Metacham. So that's where it wraps up. Game 2 was definitely winnable. If I had thought about it a little bit more and played better, I would have been in a much better position. Don't know if I would have won, but it would have been a lot better. So, thanks for watching. See everyone next week.